The truck rolled into my driveway at 6:42 a.m. Not slowly, not cautiously, like it had every right to be there. The engine idled, diesel humming, a sound that doesn't ask permission. I stood barefoot on the cold hardwood phone in my hand, watching the live feed from my security app. Gray morning light, dew still clinging to the hedges, and my younger brother stepping out of the cab like he owned the ground beneath his boots. He adjusted his jacket, smiled, held a stack of papers like a prop. My phone buzzed. "Cole, come outside. Let's make this easy." That was the moment I understood. The engagement party wasn't the worst thing. The lies weren't the worst thing. Even the way my family looked at my house like it was a prize instead of my life's work that wasn't the worst thing. This was a moving truck, before sunrise, at my home. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I slipped my phone into my robe pocket and whispered to myself, "Stay quiet, stay sharp." Because the loudest people lose first. Before I take you back to how this started, let me say this. If you've ever had family treat you like you don't matter, if you've ever been told to just let it go while someone was taking from you, if you've ever been painted as selfish for protecting what you earned, tap the like button. Subscribe. Not for me, for you. Because stories like this don't end quietly, and neither should you. Now let me rewind. My name is Brianna Hale. I'm 32. I work in financial compliance, quiet job, sharp edges. The kind of work where mistakes cost millions and nobody thanks you for preventing disasters. I bought my house 2 years ago, not with help, not with inheritance, not with a starter loan from my parents. Late nights, cold coffee, missed holidays. That house was proof I survived. A renovated Craftsman on the edge of Franklin, warm wood, clean lines, windows that catch the evening light just right. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. The night my family first stepped inside, my mother ran her hand along the kitchen island and said, "Wow, this could host something really special." I laughed it off. That was my first mistake. My younger brother Cole had always been good at landing softly. 28. Freelance this, side hustle that. Big dreams, short follow-through. Every time something fell apart, there was a couch waiting for him, a check, an excuse. My mother Deborah called it support. I called it practice. Marley came later, Cole's girlfriend. Pretty in a way that felt rehearsed. Smile always half a second too late, eyes that scanned rooms like inventory. She hugged me too tightly the first time we met. "You're so lucky," she said, glancing around my living room. "This place feels permanent." I remember thinking that was a strange compliment. The call came in early spring. Deborah didn't waste time. "We need your house." Not can we. Not would you consider. Need. For what I asked already tense. For Cole and Marley's engagement brunch. Maybe a little fundraiser element. It would look wonderful here. I stared at the sink while the dishwasher hummed. A steady mechanical sound. Like something swallowing its own noise. "I don't host events," I said. There was a pause. Then the sigh. "Brianna, don't be difficult. This is family." That word again. Family. Always used like a weapon. I agreed, but I set rules. Clear ones. 1 day only, 100 guests, done by 10. No changes to the house, no exceptions. Deborah agreed too quickly. Cole called that night. "You're a lifesaver, sis," he said. "We won't forget this." I said nothing. Just listened to the way his voice slid around the promise. Marley texted a heart emoji. Then another. Then, "This is going to be unforgettable." That was the second something in me tightened. The weeks that followed were small cuts. A request to extend the time. A question about rearranging furniture. A suggestion to borrow the patio set. I said no. Every time. Short, clean. They didn't argue. They smiled. My mother started calling more often. "You know your brother's been struggling. Marriage changes people. You have so much. Why not share a little joy? Share. Like my home was a loaf of bread." One afternoon, a catering company called me directly. "We're confirming final numbers," the woman said. 150 guests. I went still. "Absolutely not," I said. It's capped at 100. She hesitated. That's not what we were told. That was the first snap. The second came when my cousin Elise pulled me aside at a family dinner, her voice low, her hand gripping my sleeve like she was afraid I'd disappear. They're talking about your house like it's already theirs, she whispered. I didn't react, just nodded, because reacting is what people like Cole count on. The night before the event, my mother cornered me in the kitchen. The overhead light flickered. The room smelled like lemon cleaner and tension. Try not to control everything tomorrow, she said. You'll ruin it. I looked at her. Really looked. You mean I'll ruin it for them? I said. Her jaw tightened. You've always been like this, she replied. Independent to the point of cruelty. That one landed. The party came and went in noise and violation. Too many people. Too much sound. My furniture shifted an inch here, a foot there. I said nothing. I watched. And the next morning the truck arrived. Back in the present, my phone vibrated again. Cole, don't make this ugly. I stepped outside. The morning air was sharp, my robe belt tight in my fist, gravel crunching under my feet. Cole smiled when he saw me. Marley stood behind him, arms crossed, calm, confident. My mother's words echoed in my head. You've always been like this. I looked at my brother and said quietly, You're trespassing. He laughed. Then he said the sentence that ended everything. Relax. This is family property now. And somewhere deep inside me, something went completely, beautifully cold. I didn't raise my voice. That surprised him. Cole tilted his head like he was listening for thunder that never came. Marley's smile twitched just once, then reset. My mother stood behind them, arms folded tight across her chest, already preparing her lines. Family always rehearses. I looked at the truck again, the back door half open, cardboard boxes inside, someone's life apparently scheduled to overlap with mine. You can't be serious, Cole said. We talked about this. No, I replied. You talked? I listened. Short, clean, no oxygen. Marley stepped forward. Her voice was soft, almost kind. The kind people use when they're trying to sound reasonable to witnesses. Brianna, you're spiraling, she said. This is just logistics. Nobody's taking anything from you. That was the third snap. Because people only say, nobody's taking anything when they already have their hands on it. My phone buzzed again in my pocket. One sharp vibration. Then silence. I didn't look. My mother cleared her throat. Why are you doing this? Deborah asked. Why are you choosing conflict? Choosing, as if conflict had been sitting on a shelf and I reached for it. I stepped down the last porch step. The wood creaked under my bare foot. Cold seeped into my heel. I didn't choose this, I said. You brought a truck to my house. Cole scoffed. It's temporary. Temporary is the word thieves love most. Gavin leaned against the side of the truck, arms crossed, watching me like this was entertainment. He hadn't said a word yet, didn't need to. He was here to witness the handoff. Marley followed my gaze and smiled again. You don't have to be dramatic, she said. This is about the next chapter. There it was. The future. The next generation. The excuse. Deborah jumped in immediately. You have everything, Brianna. A career, a home, stability. Cole is just starting out. I felt my jaw lock. Starting out, at 28, with a moving truck, and forged confidence. I worked for this, I said. Every inch. Cole waved his papers. And we're working on something, too. I laughed once. Short, sharp. It surprised all of us. Paper doesn't make it yours, I said. He stepped closer, invading my space. He'd always done that, crowd people, until they backed up. Don't do this, he said quietly. You'll regret it. That was the fourth snap, because threats wrapped in sibling concern are still threats. I pulled my phone out then, unlocked it, tapped once. The click echoed louder than the truck engine. Miles's voice filled the morning air. Calm, awake, ready. I'm here, he said. What's happening? Cole's smile faltered. Marley's eyes flicked to the phone, then back to my face, measuring. Good timing, I said. They're attempting to occupy my property. Deborah gasped. Loud. Performative. Occupy, she cried. Listen to her, Miles. She's using legal language like a weapon. Miles didn't respond to her. "Cole," he said evenly, "do you have a signed lease?" Cole hesitated, half a second too long. "We have documents," he said. "Answer the question." "No. Then you're trespassing." Silence spread. Heavy, the kind that presses against your ears. Marley stepped in again. "We're not criminals," she said. "This is family." Miles didn't raise his voice. "Family doesn't override property law." Deborah's face flushed red. "How dare you talk to my son like that?" Miles finally looked at her. With respect, he said, "Your son is standing on land he does not own, attempting to move in without consent. That was the first time I saw it." Fear. Not in Cole. In my mother. She turned to me, eyes glassy. "Brianna, please. This doesn't have to go this far." There it was. The plea. The pivot. When intimidation fails, they beg. "Go this far?" I asked. "You came this far." Her mouth opened. Closed. "You're breaking this family apart," she said. That one hit, but it didn't stick. Because something had shifted overnight. The hurt had burned out. All that was left was clarity. "I'm not breaking anything," I said. "I'm refusing to be robbed politely." Marley's mask slipped. "You're heartless," she snapped. "This is why people don't stick around you." That was the fifth snap. I stepped closer to her. Not aggressive, intentional. "You don't know me," I said. "But you're about to." Miles spoke again. "Cole, you and your associates need to leave immediately. If you don't, I will contact local law enforcement to issue a trespass notice." Cole laughed. Too loud. "You think cops are going to take your side over family drama?" I tilted my head. "They don't care about drama," I said. "They care about deeds." I opened my email, scrolled, held the phone up just enough for him to see the attachment name. Property deed. Confirmed. His laughter died. Deborah lunged, then grabbed my sleeve, her grip tight, nails digging into my wrist. "Stop," she hissed. "You're humiliating us." I looked down at her hand, then back up at her face. "Let go." She didn't. That was the sixth snap. I peeled her fingers off my arm one by one, slow, controlled. "Do not touch me," I said. The words landed harder than yelling ever could. Gavin finally spoke. "Maybe we should reschedule." "Too late." I nodded once. "You have 5 minutes to get off my property." Cole stared at me like he was seeing a stranger. "You've changed," he said. "No," I replied. "You just ran out of room." Miles cleared his throat. "Time starts now." The truck engine coughed, then shut off. Deborah began to cry, loud, shaking, the kind of crying designed to draw attention from neighbors. "After everything I've done for you," she sobbed. "I raised you. I sacrificed." I felt something twist, but it didn't break. "You didn't sacrifice for me," I said. "You sacrificed me." Her crying stopped. That was the moment, the one that couldn't be taken back. Cole looked at Marley. Marley looked at Gavin. Calculations flying. They hadn't expected resistance. Not real resistance. They expected guilt, confusion, silence. They didn't expect paperwork, or a lawyer, or a daughter who finally stopped apologizing for existing. Cole dropped the papers onto the gravel. "They're not even real," he muttered. Miles smiled thinly. "I know." Marley's face drained of color. My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. Alert, unauthorized vehicle detected. Recording saved. I slipped the phone back into my pocket and took a step toward the house. Behind me, my mother's voice cracked. "If you do this," she said, "don't come crying when you're alone." I paused at the door. Didn't turn around. "I was alone long before today," I said. "At least now I'm honest about it." The door closed behind me with a soft, final click. And outside the truck sat silent, full of things that were never coming inside. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table with the lights off, phone face down, listening to the house breathe. The refrigerator clicked. The wall clock ticked like it was counting something down. Every room still smelled faintly like last night cheap perfume, spilled champagne, other people's entitlement. I kept seeing the truck in my head, the way it parked straight and confident, like it had rehearsed. Around 2:11 a.m., my phone vibrated once. Miles. They'll try again. Different angle. I didn't reply. I already knew. Family like mine never quits after the first no. They regroup. At 7:03 a.m., my mother called. I let it ring. At 7:04, she texted, "Mom, we need to talk. Calmly. Calmly is code for, let me explain why you're wrong." At 7:06, Cole sent one. "Cole, you embarrassed us. We didn't deserve that." That was the 7th snap. Because people who almost steal your house always say, "We didn't deserve that, never. We're sorry." I got up, poured coffee I didn't want, and opened my laptop. Not emails, not messages, county records. I searched my address. Again. Everything clean, everything unchanged. Still, my shoulders didn't drop. Fear doesn't leave just because you're right. By 9:30, Elise called. Her voice was tight. "They're scrambling. Of course they are. They're saying you blindsided them, that you promised more than you did." I stared at the coffee swirling in my mug. "Did they mention the truck?" A pause. Then, "No." "Figures. They're also saying Marley's pregnant," Elise added, "that the stress put her at risk." That was the 8th snap, because manipulation always puts on a costume when it's cornered. I closed my eyes, counted to 3. "She was drinking tequila out of a tumbler yesterday," I said. "Tell them to pick a story." Elise exhaled. "There's more." I waited. "They were at O'Rourke's last night," she said. "Cole, Marley, and Gavin. I walked in by accident. They didn't see me." My fingers tightened around the mug. "What did they say?" "They were laughing," Elise said. "Talking about how paperwork scares you, how once you cool off, you'll fold. Gavin said he knows a guy at the clerk's office, someone who can make delays disappear." The 9th snap was quiet. No heat, no rush, just a hard click in my chest. "That's a felony," I said. "I know, and they're dumb enough to joke about it in public." "Yes." I smiled then, for the first time since dawn. "Did you record anything?" There was another pause. Then I did. That was the moment the board flipped. By noon, Miles was back at my house. He didn't knock, just walked in like he always did, suit jacket over his arm, eyes already scanning corners. "They're escalating," he said. "So are we." I played the recording, Cole's voice first, loose, cocky, Marley laughing, high and sharp, Gavin low confident, talking about documents like they were coupons. Miles didn't interrupt, didn't react. When it ended, he nodded once. "Good," he said. "This confirms intent. Can we stop them?" He looked at me, really looked. "We already are," he said, "but now we do it loud enough that they can't pretend." He pulled a folder from his bag. Thick, tabbed, organized. Inside, the signed one-day event contract. Time-stamped security footage from the party. Vendor confirmations showing inflated guest counts. Screenshots of Marley's messages pushing changes after refusal. Paper beats blood every time. "They'll try to flip the narrative," Miles continued. "They'll say, you're unstable, cold, vindictive." I shrugged. "They've been saying that since I was 16. He gave a small smile. "Then let's give them facts." That afternoon, my mother showed up unannounced. No truck this time. Just her sedan parked crooked like she'd rushed. I watched her through the camera before opening the door. Her shoulders were hunched, her mouth already trembling. She stepped inside and immediately touched the wall. The counter, the back of a chair. "This house changed you," she said. That was the 10th snap. "No," I replied. "It showed me." She turned on the tears fast. "Professional. Years of practice. Cole is devastated," she said. "He hasn't slept. Marley's under so much stress." I leaned against the island, arms crossed. "Did he mention the forged paperwork?" Her crying hitched. "What paperwork?" "There it is," I said quietly. Her eyes flicked away. A fraction too slow. "You're imagining things," she said. "You always do when you're upset. Gaslight. Old. Familiar." "I have recordings," I said. "I have signatures. I have footage." She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. "You wouldn't use that against family," she whispered. "That's where you're wrong," I replied. "I wouldn't use it for family. I'll use it for myself. Her face hardened. "You think you're better than us," she said. "With your money, your house, your lawyers." "No," I said. "I think I'm done being smaller so you can feel bigger." She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "If you go public with this," she warned, "you'll destroy us." That was the 11th snap. "I didn't bring a truck to steal someone's home," I said. "You did." She left without another word. That evening, Miles drafted the notice. Formal, precise, ruthless in its calm. Cease and desist. No contact except through counsel. Any further attempt to occupy, alter, or misrepresent ownership would result in immediate legal action. I read it twice, then signed. At 10:18 p.m., Cole texted again. "Cole, why are you doing this to Mom?" I stared at the screen, the house silent around me. Then I typed back, "Me. Why did you bring a truck?" 3 dots appeared, disappeared. Nothing else came through. I stood, walked to the front door and locked it, then checked it again. Outside, the porch light cast a clean circle onto the driveway. Empty now, peaceful, deceptive. I knew better. They weren't finished, but neither was I. And this time I had something they didn't. Proof. The party was supposed to be over. That was the lie everyone agreed to say out loud. By Friday night, my house didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a stage set, lights too bright, music, too loud, strangers leaning on walls they didn't earn. I stood at the top of the stairs, fingers wrapped around the banister, watching it all from above. 100 guests had turned into a crowd. One clean sound system had turned into speakers I didn't recognize, humming low like a threat. My dining chairs were gone, replaced by rented metal ones. My rug rolled up, like it was optional. That was the 12th snap, not explosive, controlled, cold. Cole was near the bar, laughing too hard, the laugh he used when he wanted witnesses to believe he was winning. Marley floated beside him, hand on his arm, scanning faces, counting allies. My mother moved through the room like a hostess, apologizing for nothing, explaining everything. "Isn't it beautiful?" she said to anyone who would listen. "Family really comes together." Family. I took out my phone. No messages, no missed calls, just the camera app. I didn't announce myself, didn't interrupt. I filmed what mattered. The extra catering trays, the speakers plugged into outlets they were told not to use, Gavin directing staff to move my furniture again, each clip short, time-stamped, clean. Evidence doesn't need drama. Elise appeared at my elbow. Quiet, pale. "They're pushing," she whispered. "I know. They're not even pretending anymore." "I know," she swallowed. "I have something." She slipped her phone into my hand. I pressed play. Marley's voice came through first. Clear, casual, unbothered. "She won't call the cops," Marley said. "She hates scenes." Cole laughed. "She hates disappointing Mom more." Then Gavin, low and smug. "Once we're in, she won't get us out." Family optics. That was the 13th snap. It felt like ice cracking under my ribs. I handed the phone back to Elise. "Email that to me," I said. She nodded. "Already did." I looked out over the room again. They weren't celebrating love. They were rehearsing ownership. I went downstairs. Cole saw me coming. His smile sharpened. "Hey," he said. "Relax, you look tense." I stopped 3 feet from him. "You broke the contract," I said. He glanced around. "Not now." "Now," I replied. Marley leaned in. "You're overreacting." I held up my phone. 150 guests. Unapproved equipment. Furniture moved. You signed against all of it. Cole's jaw tightened. "You're ruining the vibe," he said. That was the 14th snap. "I don't care about your vibe," I said. "I care about my house." My mother appeared instantly, like she'd been waiting for her cue. "What is wrong with you?" she hissed. "People are watching." "Good," I said. "They should." She grabbed my wrist. Not hard, not gentle, possessive. "Stop," she said through her teeth. "You're humiliating your brother." I looked down at her hand, then up at her face. "Let go," I said. She didn't. The 15th snap wasn't loud. It was final. I pulled my arm free. "Touch me again," I said, "and this party ends with police lights." Silence rippled outward. Marley's eyes widened. "Just enough." Cole scoffed. You wouldn't. I met his stare. Try me. He laughed. Forced. Too fast. You're acting unhinged, he said. Gaslight. Again. I stepped back, not retreating, positioning. I texted Miles. Me. They violated everything, recording included. Miles, save everything. Don't escalate yet. I didn't escalate. I documented. Every hour. Every violation. Every overstep. At 11:17 p.m., I watched Gavin direct movers, actual movers, to stack boxes near the hallway. That was the 16th snap. I walked straight to him. What are those? I asked. Supplies? He said. For what? He smiled. Clean up. I stared at the boxes. Labeled. Heavy. You have 5 minutes, I said. He shrugged. For what? To get those out of my house. Cole appeared again. You're being paranoid. No, I said. I'm being prepared. At midnight, the music finally stopped. People filtered out slowly, reluctantly, like they'd tasted something and wanted seconds. When the door closed behind the last guest, the house exhaled. I didn't. Marley turned to me. Her tone changed. Lower, sharp. This didn't have to be ugly. I laughed once. You brought the ugliness with you. She stepped closer. You think paperwork protects you from family? Yes, I said. It does. Cole slammed his glass down. This isn't over, he said. I know, I replied. That's why I'm ready. They left after that. No hugs, no apologies, just looks. The kind people give when they're already planning the next move. I locked every door, checked every window, then checked again. At 2:04 a.m., my phone buzzed. Alert motion detected driveway. I opened the feed. Nothing. At 2:06 a.m., another alert. Still nothing. They were testing. I slept in clothes, phone charging beside me, shoes by the bed. At 6:42 a.m., the alert came again. This time, it wasn't empty. The truck. Same one, same confidence. Cole stepped out first, then Marley, then Gavin. Cole held a stack of papers. Marley smiled like she'd already won. I stood at the top of the stairs, heart-steady phone already in my hand. Miles picked up on the first ring. They're here, I said. I know, he replied. I'm 2 minutes away. I took a breath. Not deep, not shaky, measured. Outside, Cole knocked. Not gently. I didn't answer. He knocked again, louder. Brianna, he called. Come on, let's finish this. Finish. That word again. I opened the door. Cold morning air rushed in. Smelled like diesel and bad decisions. Cole lifted the papers. This house is ours now, he said, and behind him the truck idled ready to swallow whatever I let go of. I looked at the papers, then at his face. Then I smiled, because this time I wasn't reacting. I was ending it. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't step aside. I didn't argue. I looked at the papers in Cole's hand and said, You're standing on private property. Put those down. He laughed. The sound cracked at the end. Don't be dramatic, he said. This is already done. Behind him, Marley leaned against the truck, arms folded, chin lifted. Calm, confident, like someone who thought the ending was already written. Gavin stood off to the side, eyes flicking between me and the street, watching for witnesses, watching for consequences. The engine idled. Miles's car turned the corner. Right on time. He parked cleanly behind the truck, stepped out, and didn't look at anyone but Cole. Morning, Miles said. Hand me the documents. Cole hesitated. That half second was everything. These prove ownership. Cole said louder now. We had them reviewed. Miles took them anyway. Flipped through once, then again, slower. He handed them back. These aren't recorded, he said. They're not notarized. And 2 of these signatures don't match county records. Marley straightened. That's impossible. No, Miles replied. What's impossible is thinking this would work. Cole's face flushed. You're just trying to scare us. Miles pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police to issue a trespass notice, he said. You can leave now, or you can leave with them. Silence dropped hard. The truck engine sputtered, then went quiet. Marley laughed sharp and thin. "You're really going to do this? To your own family?" I stepped forward then. "One step. Just enough. You brought a moving truck to steal my house," I said. "Don't pretend this is about feelings." Cole took a step toward me. "This ends if you stop," he said. "Right now." I didn't move. Miles didn't blink. The police arrived 6 minutes later. 2 officers. Calm, professional, bored in the way people get when they've seen worse. I handed over the deed, the contract, the recordings, the footage, the timestamps. The officers reviewed everything, quietly. Then one of them turned to Cole. "You need to leave the property," he said. "Now!" Cole exploded. "This is my sister," he shouted. "She's lying! Those papers!" "They don't hold," the officer said. "You're trespassing." Marley stepped in fast. "We're being attacked. This is a family dispute." The second officer shook his head. "This is a property dispute." That distinction landed. My mother arrived just as the officers started issuing warnings. She rushed toward us, tears already falling, voice cracking loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "How could you do this?" she cried. "How could you call the police on your own brother?" I didn't answer right away. I let the moment sit. "Mom," I said finally. "He tried to steal my home." She turned on me like I'd struck her. "You've always been cold," she said. "You've always cared more about things than people." That was the last snap. "No," I said. "I care about truth. You taught me to ignore it." The officers gave Cole 10 minutes. He glared at me the entire time. Rage, humiliation, fear. Marley whispered furiously in his ear. Gavin avoided my eyes. When the truck finally pulled away, my driveway felt wider, lighter. The officers waited until it was gone. Miles turned to me. "You did exactly what you needed to do." I nodded, but I wasn't finished. 2 weeks later, we filed suit. Forgery, fraud, attempted unlawful occupation. Miles built the case with surgical calm. Every document, every clip, every message. I didn't embellish, didn't dramatize. I posted the timeline publicly. Just facts. The reaction was immediate. Family members who'd stayed silent started calling, apologizing, asking questions they should have asked years ago. Cole tried to post an apology, vague, defensive. It didn't land. Marley doubled down, accused me of betrayal, of cruelty. No one believed her. The judge ruled quickly, clear intent, clear deception. Cole and Marley were ordered to pay damages and legal fees. They didn't have the money. They left town quietly. My mother called once after that. Her voice was smaller. "You didn't have to ruin everything," she said. I closed my eyes. "You ruined it the moment you chose him over the truth," I replied. I ended the call. I didn't cry. I walked through my house that night barefoot, turning on lights room by room. The walls were quiet, steady. This house wasn't just mine because my name was on a deed. It was mine because I defended it. And the hardest truth I learned, protecting your boundaries will cost you people who were only comfortable when you had none. I locked the door, not out of fear, out of peace.